the man threw the dagger into the lake. The next second, the serpent god spat out a golden dagger and a silver dagger. Everyone thought that being honest would make you rich, but only Jack knew this was a trap designed to turn people into killing puppets, because he had been reborn. It all started on a certain day in 2025. Massive earthquakes erupted all over the world. Countless ancient tombs buried deep underground were suddenly revealed. Humans excavated large numbers of ancient relics that only existed in myth. Anyone who obtained a relic would gain strange and powerful abilities. The relic Jack possessed was a professional archaeologist relic. It granted him the ability to understand all tombs and ruins information. However, the wealthy elite who seized the relics first had already joined forces to monopolize all resources. Ordinary people had no chance to rise. With no other option, Jack joined a large corporation. Using his unique knowledge of relics, he quickly earned the trust of the company's chairman. For 15 years, he handled all the dirty work the company couldn't show in public, and helped the chairman accumulate massive wealth. But the chairman feared Jack would surpass him in influence, so he set a deadly trap involving the Lake Dagger incident. Jack's entire team was wiped out. Even as he struggled desperately, a relic monster bit off his lower body. Just as he was about to die, time suddenly froze. A mysterious voice echoed in his ear. It mocked him for wasting his extraordinary talent, only to die such a pathetic death. But instead of the desire to survive, what burned inside Jack was a deep hatred for the chairman. That hatred amused the mysterious voice, so it appeared and granted him a chance to return to the past. When he regained consciousness, he found his body completely intact, but strange eyes were looking at him. He realized he was inside a police station. Seeing his confused expression, the police officer across from him sighed. He complained that even for such trivial disputes, he couldn't go home for New Year, saying 2025 was truly a terrible year. Hearing the word year, Jack suddenly turned to look at the wall clock. It clearly showed January 1st, 2025. At that moment, he finally understood. He had returned 15 years before the relic disaster began. Was this the turning point that mysterious voice mentioned? Before he could think further, a middle-aged woman suddenly shouted at him, and next to her stood a boy with a smug grin. Jack finally remembered what happened in his previous life. The boy had provoked him first. He only pushed him slightly, but the boy immediately pretended to fall and scam him. Just as he was recalling how he dealt with it back then, the woman raised her hand to hit him, but Jack caught her hand mid-air. Even he was surprised by his own reflex, but he quickly steadied himself. He exposed their extortion scam on the spot. The boy, furious and embarrassed, tried to attack him from behind. The result was obvious. Jack effortlessly threw him over his shoulder and pinned him down. In that brief exchange, Jack noticed something: his body felt lighter than before, most likely because he hadn't yet been exposed to relic contamination. Even though he had 15 years of combat experience, his current body was still just an ordinary one, not enough to challenge official authority. As expected, he was temporarily detained for fighting in the police station, but Jack wasn't worried at all, because he knew once relics began appearing across the world, everything would fall into chaos. Right now, the most important thing was to gather startup capital for exploring ruins. Just then, blue text suddenly appeared in front of his eyes. Jack immediately realized it was that mysterious voice again. It was treating his life like a game to control. Although he was furious, he noticed a status message: collect 4 skills to unlock awakening, so he temporarily held back his anger and accepted the situation. The first skill unlocked immediately. He could fully analyze all objects and information within a 1-meter range. This was exactly the core ability from his previous archaeologist relic. At that moment, the police finally cleared up the misunderstanding. With help from a man named Mr. Kim, Jack was released from the station. Mr. Kim had always been kind to him before, so they said their goodbyes. Jack began planning his next steps, but the moment he stepped out of the police station, a group of street thugs blocked his way.
見つけたぞ、俺の金づる。
The man before them simply sat quietly on the throne, yet no one expected him to radiate such an overwhelming pressure. Jack had unexpectedly arrived in another world. There, the gods granted him an extremely powerful witch named Jenny. At that moment, Jack made up his mind to build a kingdom together with her. This decision made Jenny incredibly excited. Soon after, Jack summoned a horned insect-type demon beast. He ordered the long-legged creature to scout the surrounding forest. Through the shared vision of the horned insect, Jack discovered a group of dark elves at the edge of the forest. While Jack was still observing the dark elves, they unexpectedly entered his territory. When the dark elves saw Jack and Jenny, they immediately showed extreme fear. In their eyes, Jack appeared to be nothing more than a mass of darkness. They instantly believed Jack was the legendary king of destruction. At that moment, the dark elf leader John bowed to Jack. Having no way out, he intended to lead his people in pledging loyalty to Jack. Jack looked at the dark elves offering him their allegiance. He waved his hand and granted them an ample supply of food. However, when one dark elf tried to raise his head to thank Jack, he fainted the instant he looked up. At that moment, Jenny announced the founding of Jack's kingdom. Once the news spread, all the elves were filled with excitement. At the same time, the saint sensed Jack's unusual dark magic. Her prophecy foretold the coming of a great calamity. She dispatched the strongest holy knight of the kingdom to investigate the deep forest. John then suggested training an army in preparation for war. However, Jack chose to refuse the idea. He stated that he could simply summon demon beasts instead. This left John deeply confused. Jenny then explained that demon beasts obey Jack's commands completely. At the same time, they possess powerful special abilities. Just then, Jack sensed someone appearing at the forest's edge. He instructed Jenny to go and drive them away. The team leader Mike, who intended to enter the deep forest, was blocked by Jenny, who was disguised as a dark elf. The leader explained that they had come under the saint's orders to survey the forest. However, Jenny claimed that only refugee kin lived there. Seeing that Jenny refused to step aside, Mike had no choice but to reveal the saint's prophecy of calamity. William, a holy knight, became furious at this. He was enraged because Mike had casually revealed the saint's prophecy to others. Jenny assured them that this disaster would never occur in the forest. She even swore an oath to their god. After hearing this, Mike immediately decided to withdraw the troops. However, an angry William seized control of the army from Mike. He directly ordered the soldiers to enter and search the forest. The leader hurriedly tried to stop them, but no one listened. Left with no other option, Jenny chose to take action. When William opened his eyes again, he discovered that the surrounding troops had all been wiped out. The leader never expected Jenny to be the witch of legend. Jenny helplessly stated that in order to conceal Jack's existence, she had no choice but to eliminate everyone before her. Every time this boy kills a monster, he can steal its power. Through battle after battle, he keeps getting stronger. But even so, the adventurers still look down on him. One day, Ein comes to the guild to sell materials from a hidden dungeon. The receptionist sees that he is only the lowest rank, F rank. His job is also appraiser, a class no one respects. So she immediately suspects the materials are stolen. The adventurers nearby also start laughing at him. They believe there is no way he could have defeated any monsters. Ein has always hated those looks, but he still takes out a large pile of rare materials. Everyone is stunned. Even then, they refuse to admit they were wrong. Just then, the guild master appears. With one glance, she sees that Ein has the divine spirit eye. The receptionist also confirms that every material is real. Then Jasper, a rich young noble, steps forward and proves it. He says every monster was killed by Ein himself. The guild master is disappointed in everyone's prejudice. Judging someone only by rank and job is the greatest arrogance an adventurer can have. This time, no one can laugh anymore. Instead, they all start gathering around Ein and praising him. But the next day, the guild master visits Ein in person. She has an SS rank request, and she believes only Ein can take it. According to legend, the Demon King once created a powerful monster called Behemoth. After the Demon King was sealed away, Behemoth also disappeared for many years. But recently, it appeared again in the desert. It has been attacking travelers non-stop. Behemoth can absorb magic. It can also fire air blasts strong enough to tear through space. For normal adventurers, meeting it means almost certain death. The guild master does not want to force Ein, but Ein does not hesitate. He accepts the mission right away. After reaching the desert, Ein attacks the ground and forces Behemoth out from underground. When Behemoth appears, it is extremely arrogant. It believes it was created by the Demon King, so no human could ever defeat it. But Ein mocks it instead. He says even the Demon King is nothing to him, so Behemoth is even less of a threat. Behemoth loses its temper at once and fires air blasts again and again. Ein dodges them with ease. Then he closes the distance and cuts off Behemoth's right claw with one strike. Behemoth quickly dives back into the sand. It plans to end the fight with a surprise attack. The next second, it bursts out of the ground and swallows Ein whole. Behemoth thinks it has won, but it soon realizes Ein is nothing like normal prey. The moment Ein was swallowed, he had already identified its weakness. Behemoth can absorb magic only through its outer skin. If the attack comes from inside its body, it cannot defend itself. So Ein had already placed a barrier around himself. Then he releases high-tier magic from inside Behemoth's body. A huge burst of magic explodes. Behemoth is killed on the spot. Because of that, Ein gains a series of SS rank abilities. In the past, almost the only person who could defeat an SS rank monster was the hero who sealed the Demon King. But Ein does not become arrogant. He knows he only won because his friends helped him. After the battle, the princess takes Ein to meet the king. The king has already heard that Ein defeated Behemoth. He also knows Ein once saved the princess, so the king personally thanks him. Then he gives Ein a pocket watch engraved with the royal family's crest. From that day on, Ein can freely enter different places in the kingdom. With this token, he can also read more records, and he can continue searching for his missing family. As Ein becomes famous, Zoid, who once looked down on him, becomes more and more miserable. He is jealous of everything Ein has. He also cannot accept that Ein has already surpassed him. Just then, a fallen elf appears before Zoid. She tells him she can lend him power. After that, the elf returns to the demon world. She takes out the Demon King's edict and uses it to tempt Falco into killing Ein. At first, Falco does not care at all. Even after hearing that Ein defeated Behemoth, he still believes humans can never threaten demons. But after the elf keeps provoking him, he finally opens a gate. And then, he steps into the human world. This man never expected that just by killing a skeleton knight, its weapon would end up flying straight into the kingdom princess's room. Since the weapon was an S-rank rare item, the princess decided to investigate the incident. The news shocked everyone in the city. After learning the full story, Jack felt pretty embarrassed. He then headed to the guild, where he found out at the front desk that the guild had made the skeleton knight's case their top priority because many adventurers had been attacked by it. When Jack went to claim the quest reward, he told them the skeleton monster had already been dealt with. The guild receptionist was stunned and immediately asked Jack for details about how he defeated the skeleton. Jack quickly recounted his experience. To verify his story, the receptionist took the magic core for inspection. Later, Jack was eating barbecue by the street when a little girl kept staring at his food. Seeing this, Jack decided to share with her. Just then, John appeared. Jack thought John was coming to cause trouble, but it turned out he was there to take the little girl, Millie, home. Millie was an orphan who had sneaked out for a bit. As they were about to part ways, Millie ran up to Jack and asked him for a favor, to help save a fox in the northern forest. Jack was puzzled but still went to explore the northern forest the next day. Soon, he found a temple with a statue of a fox. Inside, he discovered a cursed fox. Without hesitation, he cast a purification spell, freeing the little fox. But the monster suppressing the fox wasn't happy. Checking his map, Jack saw a large number of enemies closing in. By the time he tried to leave the temple, monsters had surrounded him. Seeing no way out, Jack pulled out his weapon and fought. After a few rounds, he defeated all the monsters. Using his identification eye, he examined the little fox's attributes and was shocked to find it was a high-level spirit fox and almost divine beast in his previous game. Grateful for being saved, the little fox made a contract with Jack. How invisible is this guy really? At the grocery store checkout, he was standing right in front of the cashier, and the cashier looked straight through him. It wasn't until Shiraishi spoke up that he was finally acknowledged as an actual person, and it only got worse from there. In the graduation photo, he was clearly standing right there with everyone else, but not a single person noticed him. The teacher even went out of her way to slap a sticker over his face. Then in high school, he was sitting right there in class, but the teacher kept calling his name, completely unaware he was already in the room, until he walked up and tapped her on the shoulder. Only then did she realize he existed. Before long, the whole school started treating him like a local legend. Someone even put out a bounty, offering cold hard cash to anyone who could spot him on campus in person, because finding him was harder than finding a 4-leaf clover. People started treating him like a good luck charm, but there was one exception. Kubo, the undisputed school beauty, could find him every single time without even trying. And not only that, she absolutely loved being the only one who could see him. One day, Shiraishi was secretly searching how to skip class on his phone, when he heard a camera shutter go off behind him. Kubo, again, no matter how much he begged, she refused to delete the photo. This left Shiraishi genuinely confused. She was a top 3 student in the entire grade, an incredible athlete, and yet she kept gravitating toward him, a guy with the presence of a ghost. He was still trying to figure it out, when Kubo suddenly cut in. She wanted to know just how invisible he really was, so she told him to stand up in the middle of class. Shiraishi refused at first, but Kubo hit him with the pouty face, and he caved immediately. He went from sitting, to kneeling, to fully standing, and the teacher never noticed a thing. Kubo even egged him on to do a swan dance, so he danced. After class, Kubo smiled and said, "You were the real star of that lesson." He fired back, "That makes you the evil mastermind behind it all." The next morning, Kubo greeted him like usual, but Shiraishi assumed she was talking to her best friend, and just walked right past her. Kubo was not happy. Later, when he spotted her sulking, he went over and asked what was wrong. That made her even more annoyed. Shiraishi was completely lost. He quickly handed over his breakfast milk as a peace offering. Kubo told him to think hard about what happened that morning. He had absolutely no idea what she meant. Kubo let out a sigh. After taking a sip of the milk, she decided Shiraishi needed to be properly punished. Without any warning, she sat herself right down on his lap, grinning like she had a plan. If Shiraishi was basically invisible, then if she sat on his lap without making a sound, maybe she would disappear too, right? Any normal guy would have lost it by now. Nosebleed, racing thoughts, total meltdown. But not Shiraishi. His brain just completely shut down. He didn't even react when Kubo reached up and pinched his cheeks. The woman suddenly widened her eyes. The fiancé she had killed in the dungeon was now standing right in front of her, and his level had broken past the human cap of 100, reaching level 9,999. Back then, she killed Jack, who was only level 10, just so she could marry a level 2000 elf man and live a better life. So to confirm what she saw, she hurried after him, but when she arrived, there was no one there. She thought she imagined it, but when she turned around, a note appeared. It said to meet at the giant tower. This made her panic. Everything she had now came from killing Jack. If he was still alive and exposed the truth, her life would be over. This was only the first step of Jack's revenge. Lure her out. That same night, a giant tower appeared inside the elf kingdom, created by Jack. The woman was shocked. Soon, high-level monsters appeared on main roads outside the city. This made no sense. Monsters of that level should only exist in dungeons. Now goods could not enter the city. Prices rose fast, and the kingdom's trade economy and safety were affected. So the kingdom issued a mission to investigate the tower. But the monsters were too strong. No adventurer dared to approach. Some elves with no morals used humans as bait, so they could escape if monsters attacked. This crossed Jack's line. So from the start, he set a rule for the monsters. Kill all elves who treat humans as tools, but do not attack humans. Soon, 3 elves were killed by monsters, while human targets were ignored. A girl thought she survived, but then a group of young men appeared.
傷だらけのままじゃ見栄えが悪いからな。
傷が消えていく。これってポーション。なぜ私に？
よし、俺は靴を作るぜ。なら俺は杖だ。とりあえず水飲むか。
They were arranged by Jack. All rescued humans would be taken to nearby villages and protected. Jack originally thought this would force the White Knights to act, but instead, they raised rewards and sent more civilians to risk their lives. This showed the elves had not changed at all. They even built hotels and shops near the tower to attract more adventurers. That day, Jack planned to enter the tower as an adventurer, but the woman also showed up. When she heard Jack's voice, it felt familiar.
そこのヒューマンの子供。ダーク様。
主どうした？
サーシャだ。2人とも手を出してはダメだよ。ちょっと顔を見せなさい。僕のことですか？そのふざけた仮面を外して顔を見せなさい。ダーク様に向かって無礼だぞ。引っ込んでなクソヒューマン。申し訳ありませんが、この仮面は火傷を隠すためのもので、人様にお見せするのは。うるさい。さっさと外せって言ってんのよ。